30 days on keto, no sugar, low carbs, no cheating, and there's one result that I wasn't expecting. The reason why I wanted to try keto was mainly due to my hands. I have a lot of pain in them. It's classified as mechanical pain, and I'm trying to find ways to make them better. I've tried exercising them, strengthening them, stretching them. Nothing seems to be working, so I thought maybe it could be an inflammation thing. So the main reason for doing the keto diet was to try and really see if it's the inflammation in my body from what I'm eating that could be causing it or actually making it worse. The biggest surprise was actually waking up in the mornings. It felt a hell of a lot easier, and it was pretty early on as well. I don't know whether it was because I was looking forward to seeing what my numbers were each day, because I was checking my blood for my glucose levels, my ketone levels, and my GKI number. So that was potentially one of the reasons, but I just felt the mornings were a lot easier, which makes life a hell of a lot better, especially when you've got kids. It probably took about 3 weeks or so before I started to feel any real benefits in my hands. It could be mainly because being in winter, my hands tend to get worse in the cold. They were getting worse at the beginning of the month, and they have been getting slightly better. But it could be maybe the cold weather was really hitting them hard, so I wasn't feeling the benefits as early on. But saying by the time of week 3, I actually did find a bit of a difference where I was in less pain and was able to kind of use them a bit more than normal without being in too much pain. Energy levels during this period of time was really good actually. I was quite surprised about how stable my energy levels were. I didn't really have any big dips in my energy at all, and normally after I've had lunch or a large meal, I tend to feel like I do kind of have that slump at some point. But even if I did have bigger meals, I didn't find that at all with the keto diet. I did feel like I just constantly had energy all day. A lot of people tend to say when they're on the keto diet, they've got like extra focus and more clarity. I probably didn't really see that as much. I didn't feel like there was any major difference. I was actually hoping to have this kind of big breakthrough of feeling really productive and anything like that. But what I was actually really surprised by was the pretty much minimal to no cravings for sugar. And I'd done this diet just after Christmas, so I'd been having crisps and chocolate and sugar and basically indulging myself for pretty much 2 weeks due to Christmas, and I thought I'd have that crash from the sugar, I'll get headaches and things like that, and I just didn't get it at all. Like, pretty much from day one, as soon as I started it, there was no real cravings. I felt satiated with the food I was eating. I didn't feel like I wanted to snack, so I was just having my 2 meals. So I fast during the morning anyway, so I was just having lunch and dinner, and I didn't feel like I wanted to snack on anything. I didn't feel like I wanted to kind of grab a chocolate bar or grab something else to eat, which was a big surprise because normally I kind of crave those things every now and then, and especially if I go to pick up some extra shopping, I do tend to like, oh, I really fancy getting something, and this time I didn't, which was great. It was a big win for me because it made the whole process that much easier. Another interesting thing I found was I feel like my skin felt healthier, and I have dry skin, and I didn't really feel that as much. And my lips, I normally have like Vaseline on my lips because they get quite dry, but due to like the oils in the food, it kind of kept them quite lubricated, so I didn't really have to put much Vaseline on. So I'd make that as like quite a bit of a win as well, because I get a lot of dry skin. Some of the big downsides I found for this was the cooking and the prepping of food. This was probably the bane of my life. I just felt like I was in the kitchen pretty much every evening, sorting out food for myself, for my wife, for the kids, because obviously they weren't on the keto diet as well. So obviously I was having to do separate pans for myself, trying to not mix things up. I really didn't enjoy weighing my food. That was probably another thing. I hate having to weigh things, and I really actually missed the amount of vegetables that I could have, because I wanted more veg, but I couldn't because I didn't want to overdo my carbs. So that really was quite hard for me, because I wanted to mix my veg, because I normally like to add loads of veg together and have bigger volumes of it, and I wasn't able to do that. So that was quite hard. Probably wouldn't suggest it's easy to do in that sense. Obviously, maybe if there's a bit more prep work, or if you're doing it as a family, it might be easier, where you can kind of spread the load a bit. But it still was just a lot of washing up afterwards, which no one likes. Another kind of downside was I did actually lose weight. I lost probably just over 3 kilos in the month, which was the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to lose weight. I wanted to try and maintain things, but trying to keep the calories up, keep the numbers high was really hard. I think I only really hit over 2,000, 2,500 calories a couple times during the whole month, just because I'm only having 2 meals and I'm restricting the amount of carbs I have. That I was hitting high fat levels, which to the point where it didn't feel enjoyable anymore. I didn't mind having the fat and having the high fat content stuff and having like obviously big proteins, but there's only so much of the same food that you can have. And again, doing it clean meant I was quite restricted on what I could do to kind of bump those numbers up. So the big downside was I did actually lose quite a bit of weight, which I really didn't want to do. It's been about 2 days since going back to normal, and the first day I enjoyed a burger and chips and some ice cream, and the next day I felt horrendous. I had a splitting headache for the whole day and a headache today as well, and I really felt a big difference from going from like a clean diet to, you know, a high carb diet, and it really done me in. I'm saying, like, energy levels dropped. I feel tired during the day and sluggish, and it's made a big difference. And I'm surprised how hard it hit me, and it just kind of made me think, was I always running at this level of sluggishness? Was I, because I did always kind of wake up tired. I struggled in the morning, so there has been even just with 2 days of kind of being back to normal, I do feel like there's a massive change that I might have to make with my diet. So we'll see how that goes. Is keto sustainable? It's relatively sustainable. Like, if maybe there's a bit more planning behind it, it probably could be done. But for me, for the family, it kind of caused a bit more friction than what I liked. Again, it was my first time doing it, so maybe that was a big part of it's a learning process for me as well, knowing what foods to have, what not to have. So it did kind of eat up a lot of time for that. So maybe going forward, it might make it a bit easier. I'm planning to potentially do it for about a week every month or so, just to try and help keep the inflammation levels low in my body, and just to maybe tweak a few meals where it is a bit more kind of keto friendly, rather than going for like potatoes, pastas and rice and things like that. So I am going to incorporate it in some way into my lifestyle, just to kind of improve things better that way. I think keto would be great for people that are, if you are looking to lose weight, it's a good way to do it. If you're trying to get some energy or keep that energy level high during the whole day, I think it's brilliant. If you've got a busy lifestyle already, I think it could be quite hard. Again, depending on the prep work regarding the food, the food's relatively simple, or how I done it anyway was relatively simple, but very samey. So you might get bored of the food, so that's another downside. But if you plan right and you've got maybe someone else helping you on the same journey, then it could be fairly sustainable. But for me, it's not quite for me right now, not full time anyway. And I might even try a bit of doing like a dirty keto, adding some kind of bits of flour or some of the bits that are kind of keto friendly, but obviously are on like the grey area, and just see how that goes. Maybe swapping out some foods to be more keto friendly overall, so I'm not just carb loading all the time like I used to. Have you done a keto before? If so, let me know, or share some recipe ideas, because I'd love to kind of get into it a bit more and potentially do it again with better effects, hopefully.